kindergarten process for your children. The staff panel, the principals, and I are really happy to be starting this journey with you. You can't tell, but maybe these wrinkles in my eyes will let you know, and they have them too. We're smiling at you, and we're glad that you're here. So don't mistake our mask for anything other than happiness that you are here with us. Starting school can feel like a fire hose of information coming at you. For our veteran parents and guardians in the audience, you can relate to that feeling. And if this is the first time that your child is attending school, our plan for tonight is to just sprinkle you with the garden sprinkler of information so that you leave tonight, your suit a little bit wet, your hair a little bit wet, but you get a taste for what school will be like without feeling overwhelmed. So this is the first step in that process. If you haven't already done so, this is our sign-in QR code. If you could sign in, the reason we want you to sign in is this will allow us to contact you over email prior to the registration of your child being completed. It also will tell us a little bit of information about the preschools that children in our area attend, because we like to partner with them and make sure they get the information about upcoming events as well. So that's an important piece of our sign-in. I'd like to introduce our panel for you tonight so you know who's going to be sharing information with you. I'm going to start right here. Ms. Violet is one of our kindergarten teachers at High Cliff. Ms. Sermonera is a kindergarten teacher at Ross. Mrs. Hutzler is a kindergarten teacher at McIntyre. Mrs. Friedrich is a kindergarten teacher at Westview. And Ms. Falcone is a school nurse who travels to all of the buildings, mostly is based at McIntyre, but she's here representing all of the schools for you this evening. Our teachers will take care of many of the agenda items, and then at the end we will have a question and answer session, and our principals will be guiding us through that. So let me introduce the principals for you. Mrs. Bilderbach is our High Cliff principal. Mr. Simpson is our Westview principal. Mrs. Spingola is at McIntyre. And Mr. Veal is at Ross. After we go through the agenda items, this presentation will be posted online for you to reference. At the end, for the question and answer session, those of you in person will have the opportunity to ask your questions directly to your school team, or in this group if it's a district-wide question, and also to Ms. Falcone in the hallway if it's a question for the school nurse. If you're viewing remotely, the last slide will have contact information as well as things being posted online so that you can contact the schools, the principal, the nurse to get your questions answered. Ms. Violet will now start with the social and emotional readiness.
Hi, my name is Amy Violet. I teach kindergarten at High Cliff Elementary. This is my 23rd year in the district. I'm so excited to see you all here. This has been such an important collaboration of us coming together to help you ease some of your fears as you make this big step. A lot of times when people say, how do I know if my child's ready for kindergarten? And what can I do to help my child get ready for kindergarten? Lots of times everyone goes right to the academics. Does my child need to know all of their letters? How many sight words do they need to know? What do they need to know in math? I'm here and we're all here to reassure you that that will all come. We will teach them all of that. Yes, it is wonderful if they know some letters and can count to 10 or know some numbers to 10. It is wonderful if they know the letters in their first name. It's wonderful if they can tell us their first and last name. Those are all what we consider bonus points, because wherever your child comes in, we will teach your child, we will work with your child. We are here to help them on their learning journey. Some things that you can do that people often forget about to help your child get ready for kindergarten is social emotional readiness. And when we're talking about those things, those are the things that are often overlooked because we're so concerned about the academics. So some of the things that we're going to talk about today is what can you do to help your child get ready for what kindergarten is really like. Because when your child comes to kindergarten, there are between 18 and 23 students in a classroom, and usually one adult in that classroom. So what we like to say is fostering independence is key to helping your child be successful in kindergarten. Your child will feel such a sense of pride and ownership in things he or she can do for themselves. For example, putting their own coat on, knowing how to zipper it or button it, knowing what to do when their sleeve comes out the wrong way, how to put their coat back on. So I know when I'm getting my 19 students ready to go home on the bus that I'm in a hurry. And so because I don't want anyone to miss the bus, if they need help, I'm going to quickly help them. I'm sure you feel the same way in a family. When you're on the way to the zoo or to the grocery store, or you're going to meet a friend, that probably might be a little bit of a stressful time to practice putting on, zippering the coat, putting the mittens on, all of that. So my suggestion is take a day, a rainy, gross, yucky day, and make it a game. Set up centers in your house. Say, okay, we're going to time how quickly you can put your coat on by yourself today, and put it on the refrigerator. And the next day, try it again. Oh, let's see if we can beat that time today. And when they run into a problem where, oh, my sleeve came out wrong, or I can't get my zipper together, let's talk about it. When I encounter that problem, how can I solve it? Do I need to take a deep breath first? Do I need to take my coat off and start again? Do I need to sit down? Do I need to stand up? How can I solve that problem? Yes, there are always going to be adults to help your child and to help your child along every step of this process. What we want to have them do is to come in feeling confident that they know how to do these things by themselves. They have that sense of pride, that sense of independence, and that sense of ownership of their own skills. As far as shoes and boots, you might think, okay, I'm going to send them to school in their shoes. They won't take them off. We'll be fine. We're here to tell you they're going to take their shoes off and anything else that they might take off. So just like you're going to practice with the coat, the hat, the gloves, practice taking on and putting off the shoes. We don't expect them to know how to tie their shoes. It would be very helpful, though, if their shoe comes off, if they know how to put it back on. Or if their sock comes off, if they know how to put it back on. Oftentimes, our friends might spill something on themselves at lunch, and it will travel everywhere. I'm sure you know that, all the way down to their socks. So we can't go into the bathroom with them. So we need to say, okay, take everything off. Your shoes and socks, take it all off. Here's your dry clothes. Go ahead and put it back on. So if they can at least get that process started on their own and have that confidence, so when that yucky part happens where their applesauce went everywhere or their chocolate milk went everywhere, that they don't panic and they know, I can handle this. I know how to solve this problem. We practiced at home. The other thing we recommend is your child is going to be eating lunch at school and snack probably depending on when their lunchtime is. So what I would recommend doing is to pack your child whatever you would pack them for lunch, put it in the container that you're going to be sending to school with them, and have them practice. Sit at your table or wherever you sit to eat. Practice opening that lunchbox. Brainstorm. When I get to my Capri Sun and I can't open it, can I at least get the straw unwrapped? Can I get these 3 things done on my own while I wait for an adult to come help me? Trust me, I know those Lunchables require scissors sometimes. So we're all with you there. Sometimes. So we're all with you there. When there's so many children, though, they might be waiting a few minutes for that help. So giving them that independence while they wait. What can you do? What can you open? How can you solve this problem when you encounter it? Is going to help them be more comfortable when they come to school. Along those lines with the lunch boxes is you might learn that if you're packing them a lunch, oh, they only eat the peel of this, or they only eat the inside of that. So I think it's very informative to watch what your child eats for lunch. We've had a lot of people say that on a snow day, I packed their lunch and they ended up eating it at home. And I had no idea they didn't eat those 3 things. So that's a great opportunity to check that as well. Another thing that we can tell you about lunch is there are lots of students together in the lunchroom. So when the children need help, what they'll do is they'll raise their hand. So when they raise their hand, they are going to have to wait a few minutes for someone to come help them. There are lots of adults, we're super excited to help them. We all have scissors so that we're ready to help with those Lunchables or whatever they have, but they might need to wait a few minutes. So that's why it's so important to practice all of those things. If you know that your child will be eating school lunch, it's still an important skill to practice because the apples come in a bag, the waffles come in a bag, the milk comes in a carton. So just that practice of opening containers, figuring out what can I open by myself, how can I do this by myself, and how can I wait and cope with waiting, that makes the transition to lunch a lot easier. We are not permitted to go into the bathroom with your child. So we do a lot of talking about it, that we talk about it that go, flush, wash, leave. So you go in, you do what you need to do, flush the toilet, wash your hands, and come out. We can't go in with them at all. So it's really important to practice that, putting your clothes on, taking your clothes off, figuring out what to do if you do have an accident. How can you ask for help? If you need to change your clothes, do you know what to do? Do you know how to ask for help? But really working on that, the zippers and the buttons or buckles, anything that your child is going to have to do in the bathroom. Wiping is another really important skill to practice and to make sure they can do independently, because we cannot go in with your child to the bathroom. When we continue talking about social emotional readiness, we talk about separating from caregivers. I know that this looks a lot different because we've all spent a lot of time with our families the past couple of years. So that looks a lot different in today's society. Some things that you can do is to teach your child how to introduce himself or herself to someone else. Hi, my name is Amy. What's your name? So you can even practice this at your dinner table. You can bring over some stuffed animals. You can role play with the dolls or the stuffed animals or the trucks or whatever you have. I want to play with a new friend. How do I ask that friend to play? How do I ask someone what their name is? So if your child has exposure to that and practice with that, they'll feel more comfortable when they're faced with a room of possibly 18 to 20 strangers. They're not like, oh, I don't know what to do at all. So that can be helpful. We spend a lot of time talking about emotions. One of the most important parts of learning how to regulate or manage our emotions is identifying them. A lot of times what we do with our students is we say, oh, I notice that your body is tense and tight. Your body is telling me that you're nervous. You're feeling nervous. So I use a lot of that language to support how the children are feeling, and I label that emotion when I see it. When we're reading a book, we say, oh, look at this character. Their eyes are really wide and their mouth is open really wide. I bet they are surprised. Let's find out what's making them feel surprised. So there are lots of opportunities for naming the emotions so that when your child is upset or anxious or angry, they can say, I'm really angry, I'm really worried, I'm really sad. So that is our way and our cue so we know how we can begin to help your child. Some things that we talk about with regulating emotions is, what do I do when I get really angry? Or what can I do when I get really sad? Or what can I do when I get really frustrated? So once we know what that emotion is and can name it, then we can start to work on, how do I handle this? What do I do with my body when I feel this way? We talk about a lot of ways that we can calm our bodies down. In kindergarten, there's this great website that we all love. It's called Go Noodle. Has anyone ever heard of it? When you go on Go Noodle, there's lots of dances and fun activities that will get your child pumped up and moving. There's also lots of mindfulness activities on there, as well as breathing. So when you go into the Moose channel, there's bear breath and bee breath and whale breath. And the Moose actually talks them through how to get their body calmed down so that they can use their words to tell us what's going on for them. Persisting on tasks. We're all going to be faced with lots of things in kindergarten that we don't know how to do. We talk a lot about how we come to kindergarten to learn how to do these things together. What's really important is giving your child the tools and the knowledge not to give up, that it's okay that you don't know how to do this. It's okay that this is hard for you. How can you keep at it? How can you keep working? We talk a lot about growth mindset. Well, there are lots of books. If you look in the library and you put in the search bar, growth mindset books, there are so many. I bet you've all read The Little Engine That Could. That's one of our favorite growth mindset books, about how we just don't give up. We keep trying even when things are hard. When we talk about conversation, we talk about how to talk in a whole sentence to communicate what you want, what you need, what you're thinking, what you know. So instead of giving a one-word answer, we help the students say, what is your favorite color? They'll say green. Well, tell me more about green. Green. What do you like about green? What do you see around you? So getting your child to talk and answer a question in a whole sentence will really help that communication develop. Accepting boundaries and limits is very difficult. It's difficult with adults. It's also difficult with other children. We all want to be first in line. We all want to be first to play the game. We all want to win the game. So something you can do is when you're playing Candyland or a board game at home, is not to let your child win every time. Let them experience what it feels like to lose. We don't like it. Our body feels yucky. We might be disappointed or frustrated. And know that I'm okay, even though I'm frustrated, even though I'm disappointed, even though I didn't get my way, I can still be okay. Because learning that with you and your family is going to be so much more comfortable than having 23 5-year-olds angry because we didn't win Candyland. There are some really important community resources that I would like to share with you. If you know anything about the United Way, they're an awesome organization. On your phone, you can dial 211. When you dial 211, they can connect to you, they will read to you or talk to you about all the steps in a kindergarten registration process. If you know anyone in your community or family member that might speak a different language, they will help translate the steps for kindergarten registration for them. If there's someone in your family or your community that is in need of medical care, they don't have a doctor, they need help getting a doctor, getting medicine, 211 will help them find the correct resource. If there's someone in your community that might need help with housing or food or shelter, 211 is a great place to start. They will help you, connect you with resources in your own neighborhood, in your community that can help you. Two other great resources that we love are Northland Public Library and Shaler North Hills Library. Both libraries do a kindergarten readiness program. Last year it was all online. Before it was online, they did some kindergarten boot camps where they had the children bring their lunch to the library. They would eat lunch, they'd stay there for a couple hours, and it would give them that chance to be around peers, give them that chance to play, give them that chance to experience some independence. What they did last year is they offered it online. Shaler did it live online. Northland did kind of like classes online. Both libraries have great kindergarten readiness activities, books that can help you. One really cool thing is that the Shaler Library has kindergarten readiness backpack kits that were developed by teachers that you see in front of you. In the kindergarten readiness calendar, it gives you activities by month. The backpacks through Shaler Library correspond directly to the activities in our kindergarten readiness calendar. So that's something really cool that you can do. One thing that's not on here is PBS Kids is a wonderful website. They have lots of tools for caregivers. They have a whole list of kindergarten readiness, everything we've talked about, everything Mrs. Matthews is going to talk about with the kindergarten screening. It will give you resources both online and in person for ways to practice those kindergarten readiness skills. Our school was one of the first schools on the High Five Committee. It's what helped us come up with this idea to partner with the United Way to help students and families transition from preschool to kindergarten. And we've been part of the committee for 12 years now, so we're really excited to collaborate with other schools to help get the word out and to share ideas and resources with you.
Thank you. I want to talk to you a little bit about the kindergarten readiness screening. A few years ago now, the kindergarten readiness screening was put into board policy. So we know that we have to do it, but there's a lot of good reason around why we do it. The kindergarten readiness screening helps us do exactly what Ms. Bialek talked to you about. It helps us know where students coming into kindergarten need us to begin. So it gives us a lot of information for starting the school year. Also, it might inform you as a family as to what decision you want to make about is this the right time to begin kindergarten, or is it a wise step to maybe wait and let some more time pass to develop some skills and get some things under their belt, so to speak. So the screening that we use is called the Readiness Early Childhood Kindergarten Screening, and it has 4 components. It's going to very briefly check into physical development, fine motor, language development, the speaking that Ms. Bialek was talking about, the academic and cognitive development. Those 3 pieces are part of the screening that we do with the children. And then the 4th component, the social emotional, is a component that you give us feedback. It's a questionnaire that families complete and then submit to us so that we can see what areas are areas of strength and what areas might we need to focus on in the classroom. None of the kindergarten readiness screening should be a surprise. This is not a test. This is not a gotcha opportunity. This is a chance for us to see where children are. So I'm going to run through some of the things that are on the assessment right now because there are no secrets about this. We're a team in this together. So if you have an opportunity to teach these skills to your children before they come to the screening, great, all the better. If they don't have those skills and they still need to work on them, we'll do that too. But let me share with you a little bit of what is on the screening. Things like knowing their first and last name, their age, their street address, knowing when their birthday is, the parts of the body, the basic ones, but then fingernails, elbows, thumbs, things that might be a little more discreet. Where's their chest, their elbow? A little bit about balancing on one foot because those physical skills give us confidence too. So there are a couple of things that we ask students to do. Balance on one foot, close your eyes, and count those kinds of, we count, not that. Then making an X, making a square, making a rectangle on paper with a pencil. Printing first and last name. If they can get their first name, that's fantastic. As Ms. Bialek said, a last name is only bonus. It's icing on the cake. Reciting the alphabet is part of the assessment. A little bit different from singing the alphabet song, because when we sing a song, I don't know about you, but I'll be singing along in the car and my family will say, wait a minute, stop everything. What do you think those words are? And I'll say, and they'll make fun of me forever. So that's kind of how singing goes. We make our own meaning. What we're looking for is, do students know that each letter is an isolated piece of information? So when we say recite the alphabet, we're talking about A, B, C. Now, if they sing the song, that's fine. But knowing them as individual increments is even better. We're looking for, are they able to articulate things? Do they have fluency in what they're saying? Are they able to use more than one word to answer questions? We're going to ask them to sort objects, maybe by color, maybe by size, maybe both. Count by rote, meaning individual counting, not of objects, but can they count 1 through 10, 10 through 20, up to 30 is fantastic. We want them to match a quantity with a numeral. How many do I have here? Which numeral matches that so that they can identify you too. They can identify the numeral too. Combining sets. Here's 1 dot, here are 2 dots. How many do we have when they're all together? We have 3 dots. Recognizing uppercase letters and lowercase letters of the alphabet. We will ask uppercase letters, and if they know lowercase too, again, that's fantastic. We also want them to know, how do you start to read a book? How do you hold it? How do you turn the pages? Where's the title? Where are the words versus the pictures? Those pieces of information will all be part of the screening. Do we expect mastery of all of that? We do not. We will meet your students and your children where they are. But those are some of the things they'll be asked to do. So if you want to give them a leg up and cheat, go right ahead. That's wonderful. The other things we're looking for also are kind of the things Ms. Violet talked about. Are they able to separate from you? Because if they can't, that will give you an idea of what you might need to work on over the summer, some opportunities to practice that. Are they willing to listen to directions and take direction? Sometimes it's developmental, and sometimes it's more than developmental, that a student won't want to follow the directions they're given. So that's something you might want to practice ahead of time. If an adult tells you this, and maybe bring in someone who isn't you to try to give some directions and allow your child to follow them. And then to follow steps in a process. First, do this. Go to your room, pick up your pajamas, come back to the bathroom, and let's start the tub water. Steps in a row to follow are good for practice. We find that the screenings for us are best accomplished in late spring or early summer. And there's a reason for that. Yes, they're going to learn more over the summer months, and so if we screened again right before school began, they're probably going to have more skills under their belt. But if we screen earlier, that gives you the opportunity to make decisions, that gives us the opportunity to plan, it gives you the opportunity to seek resources and have a targeted practice plan for before school begins, and it also allows us to balance class composition as we're preparing for school. This year, the screening will occur in June, and that will be by appointment. So when you come for kindergarten registration, you'll be scheduled for an appointment in June. Our district staff administers the screening, and your input, as I said, will be collected regarding the social and emotional needs. One of the pieces there that you'll be asked about is your child independent in using the bathroom? That's a really important piece because that's something we need to have in place before they come to school. You'll hear from the staff member who administers the test immediately after to go over the results. And the resources and tools are available online as well as possibly from the person who's administering the assessment for you. Leading into our curriculum and the academic side of things, Ms. Sermonera is going to talk to us about the kindergarten curriculum.
Hi everyone, my name is Melissa Sermonera. I teach here at Ross Elementary. I'm just going to touch a little bit on the kindergarten curriculum that we have across the district. Our ELA curriculum is composed of the following. We have Wonders by McGraw-Hill. This series focuses on foundational skills and phonemic awareness. We have Countdown by Really Great Reading. This is a program that's designed to be taught 15 to 25 minutes a day, 5 days a week. This program teaches children key literacy components. We have interactive read-alouds that are within our Wonders program. These provide us with comprehension questions for the students, and it allows us to dissect one book a week with comprehension pages and worksheets. We have Writer's Workshop, which is also in the Wonders program, and it offers an interactive writing component where students learn the basic concepts of writing, such as what makes up a simple sentence. We use Handwriting Without Tears for printing. This curriculum is designed to make legible and fluent handwriting an automatic mastered skill. A little more within our ELA curriculum, we have reading, which focuses on phonemic awareness, comprehension, phonics, vocabulary, and fluency. Writing, where they communicate their thoughts through simple sentences. And printing, through the program Handwriting Without Tears, where they learn how to print their letters and their numbers. Our ELA grades are broken up into the following components: phonics, phonemic awareness, comprehension, sight words, writing, and handwriting. For our math series, we use Math in Focus. This program focuses on topics like numbers to 100, addition and subtraction, ordering, patterns, comparing numbers and sets. For science, we use FOSS, It's a very hands-on program. We investigate topics like trees, animals 2x2, and push-pull-go. And for social studies, we use TCI. This program touches on jobs, neighborhoods, maps, citizenship, and holidays. The special areas we offer at North Hills are through a 6-day cycle. They do health and physical education twice in that 6-day cycle. They have art class, music, library, and computer literacy. And at this time, Ms. Hutzler will talk about a typical kindergarten day.
Hi, I'm Maria Hutzler, and I'm a kindergarten teacher at McIntyre. I will walk you through what a typical kindergarten day looks like. In the morning, we start with a morning meeting, and that is a time where we can welcome each other, go over our daily schedule, and it's an opportunity for your child to share with their peers. It's a nice, calm routine to start each morning. Then we usually move on to calendar, and not only do we talk about the days of the week and the months of the year, but we work on counting, numbers, patterns, place value, and looking at numbers in different ways, such as tally marks and 10 frames. For ELA, we have both whole group and small group instruction. The whole group instruction is meant to teach the main concepts, like Ms. Sermonary said, the letter sets, the sight words, phonics. But then we move into our centers where we can differentiate and meet each child's individual needs for them to practice those main skills that we've already taught. For math, we use Math in Focus, and that is a conceptual program that encourages hands-on learning for students to understand and to build a solid number sense. We do that with whole group instruction, small group instruction centers, math journals, and projects. For social studies, Ms. Sermonary gave you the topics that we discussed, but we use interactive notebooks and projects. For science, we also have science notebooks and hands-on investigations. Each kindergarten student will also be given an iPad at orientation. It's filled with school-approved apps that they can use both in the classroom and at home. And one of those apps is Google Classroom. And this is a platform used by all of the teachers to provide and implement instruction in the classroom and at home to make sure everybody is receiving what they need for that day. Class Dojo is an online resource to promote the homeschool relationship. We can upload class pictures, newsletters, individual messages, and behavior updates, and much more to parents. And now Ms. Falcone, the school nurse, will be talking to you.
Hi, I'm Maria Falcone, one of the elementary nurses. So in order to start kindergarten, all children will need a physical, a dental, immunizations, and lead screening. The physical and dental need to be dated anytime after August 1st, 2021. Each child will also need complete immunizations. That is 4 doses of DTaP, with the last one being given on or after the 4th birthday. 3 to 4 doses of polio, with the last one on or after the 4th birthday. 2 doses of MMR. 3 doses of Hep B, with the last one given at 6 months of age or older. And 2 doses of varicella, or a written statement from the doctor when they had the disease. The second dose of that should be on or after the 4th birthday. For lead testing, it's usually done when your child's 9 to 12 months old, and then again at 24 months. If it hasn't been completed, it should be prior to starting kindergarten. We just need the date that it was completed, not the level. And then all medications that need to be given at school, whether it's over-the-counter Tylenol or a scheduled dose of medication that your child may need, will need to have written permission from the doctor and from you. The form that you need to have completed can be found on the district website, and then all medications that will be administered will need to be kept in our office. And next, we have Mrs. Friedrich to talk about what's next.
Hi, I'm Jessie Friedrich. I teach kindergarten at Westview Elementary. I'm going to talk to you about the registration process. The most important thing I can tell you is to come prepared. Look at the list of what you need and make sure you have all of those things, and those secretaries will love you from day one. If you don't have the things that you need, you will not be able to complete your registration. They will put a sticky note on it and set it aside. You need to have everything there. The other important thing about that registration day, you do not want to bring your child. It is boring. It is long, they have to make copies, they run to the nurse, they have lots of things to do. If your child is there, they're going to be bored. So we ask that they stay home for this part of the process. You'll see that our registration opens on January 24th. That's Monday. You can jump online. The address is right there. You're going to schedule an in-person appointment at your child's school. Only one parent or guardian is asked to attend, and we do ask that you wear a mask during that appointment. You can go online and read that whole process. Again, it's just important that you make sure you have all of that stuff. The other thing I'm going to tell you that isn't here, and this is probably what I think the most important piece is, as of June 1st, you are no longer guaranteed your child's home school. You need to register your child by June 1st per board policy. If you don't, we don't guarantee that you are going to go to your home school. So it's incredibly important. The reason for that is, it's a lot to prepare. We need to make sure we have the space, the materials, the staff, everything in place for your child to attend. In April and May, we have something called Bridge Builders, and right now it's tentative because of all of this. But if everything goes the way we would like it to go, it's an awesome evening. You bring your children in and you give them to us. And it's their first experience with a kindergarten teacher and walking away from you and getting to do some fun things in the classroom. We focus on STEM that night, and we do all kinds of great activities with them in the rooms. While they're doing that, you go and you get to attend in our building. Our principal does a presentation, and he talks to you about wonderful things like why it's so important to say no to your children. It's true. And then also the PTA will speak to you as well. PTA is such a wonderful organization to be a part of. It's a great night to come in and hear what they do for the school and whether or not that's a good fit for you. So keep your fingers crossed that everything kind of gets under control, and we'll be able to do that evening. In June, we look at the kindergarten readiness screening, which everybody has already talked to you about. What's awesome about that is that it's the kindergarten teachers doing that screening, and we'll come out and we'll talk to you afterwards. I know it's kind of scary to think about bringing them in and we're going to evaluate them. It's really not what it's like. It's a nice opportunity for us to get to know your children, helps us balance classes and know their needs before the school year starts. May through August, your job is to get ready. Not only them, but you too. It's hard to say goodbye. Especially if this is your first one going to school, you're going to need to practice being really happy about it. Save the tears for home. Don't let them see you cry. You need to stay very upbeat and excited and happy that they're starting kindergarten. If it's not your first child, you may be excited. Pushing them out. I don't know. I mean, it could go either way. My oldest is starting college, so I'm back at square one where I'm thinking about them leaving and being sad. All summer, you want to focus on getting all of that stuff that all of the teachers have talked about here tonight, getting it in practice and getting ready. The other important thing you're going to want to get in place are your clearances. We do not let you in the building without clearances. Clearances are incredibly important if you want to be a part of the PTA, if you want to come in and volunteer, and I sincerely hope we get back to that next year where we are allowed to have you in. You need to have those clearances in place, and that is not something that's just going to happen quickly. They're only approved on the 15th and 30th of each month, so it's best to get it out of the way and done in the summertime so that when school rolls around, if we do have parties that you're allowed to attend, you'll be able to participate easily and we won't have to worry about getting those clearances. Same goes for field trips. When field trips are in place again, you are not allowed to come on a field trip without those clearances, so they're incredibly important. If you go on the website, the easiest way to access them, just click on that little magnifying glass, put in clearances, it'll pull it right up and it'll walk you through what you need to do. You'll turn in paperwork and the secretaries will take it from there. The best time to take care of that is at registration because you'll already be there, you'll have all that paperwork, just submit it, get it done, and finalize them. Another thing on here that we say to do is bring them to the school. Let them play on the playground. Let them see the building. Let them get familiar with the place that they're going to be. The other thing that we'd like to talk to you about is that after-school piece and getting in place what you're going to do after school. YMCA is offered at each school. It is a separate program from us. We are not in charge of YMCA, but it is a great opportunity if you need extended care at school. You can see registration opens February 14th. The last thing in August, we're going to bring you in for orientation. When you come in, it's going to be a little bit different than it has been in prior years. We used to have everybody in at one time. Now we break it apart, so you can see on Monday, August 22nd, first thing is going to be just parents. You're going to come into your home school, and we are going to talk to you specifically about your experience at your school. This is sort of a general overview. We'll get into every little bitty question that you might have about your building. Kids do not come to that evening either. They would be more bored than registration. Wednesday, the 24th and the 25th, we do orientation with students. And you can see it's broken up now so that students A through D come for one session in the morning, E through K come in the afternoon, and so on. We do that because during that orientation, you're going to be given that school iPad. And if you're not familiar with Google Classroom or apps that we use, that's your opportunity to leave prepared. We're going to give you that iPad in that session, and we're going to show you how to get your child on. They are going to have a password and an email address. We're going to show you how to get into our Google Classrooms and what information you can find there. Once we do all of that, we spend time with the kids, we talk with them, and they get comfortable with us. It's a great opportunity for us to get to meet you, you to get to meet us, and the kids to become more familiar with us as well. Friday, August 26th, hard to believe, that will be our first day of school. And your children will come for a first full day of kindergarten, and that's when you need to put on your super happy face. Be really excited and let them know this is the best thing ever. It is going to be hard, and we have found, especially coming off of COVID, that it is really hard because they have been home. They have been with you. They have been with family, and then all of a sudden we switch back to this in-person experience, and it's a change, it's a challenge. Just know, I can assure you, everybody sitting here, and even the ones that are at home right now, all of the kindergarten teachers in the North Hills School District will love your children. We will hug them, we will take care of them, we will make it a great experience for them, and when they come home on that first day, they're going to be exhausted, they might fall asleep at dinner, but hopefully they're going to be excited to come back the next day. We really look forward to having your kids, and we're going to move into questions. Back with
Yes. So at this point, we're going to do district-wide questions in this room. If anyone has a question that might be something, no matter what school you attend, you would like to ask, now is the time.
Yes, right there.
I just have an easy question.
I love easy questions.
Do my clearances count for both kids if I already have clearances on file, or do I need to do them for a new kid coming in?
Excellent question. If you already have kids in the district, then you're on file with us, you're good to go. There are, they run their course, then you have to re-up them ever so often, but no, if you already have children, then that's good. You don't have to do them differently or reapply for.
The only thing I would add there is if by chance they're spaced out enough where you submitted at like the middle school when you have a new kindergartner coming in at an elementary, you would need to make sure they get transferred over.
Yeah, you just need to talk to the secretary and say, hey, I have a kid up at the middle school, I'm on file there, and they should be able to get that from the database. That's not going to be an issue. Good point, thank you. Any other questions? Yes?
About clearances, are they specific to the school, or do we have clearances for like our job? Can we send those in, or do we need?
So they can be very different. So that is one of the things that you'll want to work through. You'll see, like, we've had issues at times. Most people that work, there's meds and eds, that's at Pittsburgh. So a lot of people working in the medical field, their clearances might be slightly different. Doesn't usually mean that you have to maybe do the entire process, but pieces of it might be different. So that is something that you'd work on with the secretaries. Yes?
Yeah, vaccination, like my kid is in October, so like till 5 years vaccination is needed, or they want to be updated?
Yeah.
The vaccination.
So with the vaccination questions, those can get complicated quick. So you want to direct those right to the nurse themselves. And even though you have kids upcoming and registration hasn't quite opened yet, if you ever have questions about something specific like, hey, what is this? I'm not certain about this. Especially if you're coming from a different state or a different country or anything else, a different place where the rules might be slightly different, it is so important to just call the school, ask for the school nurse, and we'll be able to get you the correct answer, the correct information. Yes?
I know you guys have a cutoff for children who consent. What is the cutoff for, like, for my kid, she turned 5 August 9th. But I know Ron from the Trinity House, like, they have a cutoff August 1st. So how do we deal with that? Like, how do we go with that?
Yeah, so the district does, like, as you said, there's a cutoff with age.
Yeah.
If you want to, there is a way that you can submit for early entrance. And that does happen through the district. So it's not going to be through Ross Elementary or Westview Elementary. That's going to be through the district. And we can get that process started. What is the easiest way for them to contact?
Probably to contact the building secretary, where the children will enroll. That would be the first step.
All right. So if you let them know, hey, I know that this is the cutoff. Our birth date's right here. What do I need to do? And they'll lead you through those steps. That's a great question.
So for the packet of materials we have to bring with us for the in-person appointment, when it said we needed the health information, does that mean we have to have the physical form or?
That's a great question about having the actual physical form.
Yeah.
So that is helpful if you have that. And what would you say?
We need the immunization record when you register them. It would be great if you can get a physical and dental for the registration appointment, but if you have to drop them off later, say you have their well child visit in July, you can drop it off after. But if you have a copy of the immunizations, that's what's needed at the registration appointment.
Okay.
Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
All right. Anybody else for the general district-wide question?
After-school program, are they like grouped together by age, or is it just like kindergarten through 6th grade all together? Or?
So they're K to 5. It really depends on the size of the program. So, for example, years ago I was at Ross, and their program was a little bit larger than the program I currently have, and so they were kind of split out, primary and the older kids. At Westview, where I am currently, our program isn't that large right now, and so they are K to 5 together. They do still split up the group, but for them this year, it's actually worked out better where they have some of the older kids together with some of the younger ones and vice versa, mainly because of siblings and they like to stay together. So that's a great question, and I would say it really varies on how big their program is that year.
What's security like in the building? I'm not really familiar with suburban schools.
Excellent question. So North Hill School District does have its own police force, and they are there for one reason and one reason only, to protect the building and our students and staff. So their job isn't to police students, their job is to make sure that our perimeter is safe and that we are well cared for. All of our buildings are, whenever people say like, oh, our buildings are always locked down. They are locked, you can't just enter into any of the entrances. Staff has a POS so they can swipe into certain areas. We do have recess outside in outside positions, but at those times we have staff with the children. And we also use standard response protocol, which is nationally one of the largest programs, and we work with the police and fire department with standard response protocol. So we have protocols for evacuation, lockdown, anything with weather-related emergencies, and we also have one that's called lockout, which is if we're outside, we practice how do you get in quickly and safe. So the safety procedures in my career have changed so much. It's amazing. And I do think that our kids are truly safe in the North Hill School District. And I love the fact that all the things that I've seen, the progress that we've made. You will also notice that if you come to the buildings, you will be asked to present your ID. So always have that with you. Anybody that ever comes to pick up your children should have a valid ID with them. If you ever come in for a meeting, we will scan that through our Raptor systems, which lets us know that person is, basically it validates that you are safe to enter into the building. And so that is a process that is K through 12. That is in all of our buildings, all of our places. Yes?
Earlier in the presentation, it said that if you bring the children to the school to play in the playgrounds and things like that, to familiarize themselves, is that going to be okay, security-wise?
So it is absolutely okay when we're not in session.
Okay.
So when we're in session, we can't bring kids to the playground areas because we can't have children there and others from the community there at the same time.
Okay, so
So-
as long as school isn't in session, it's okay to...
Absolutely.
Okay.
Thanks for clarifying.
So what are the hours for school?
Okay, we'll get into that more as we go to individual schools. Highcliffe and Westview, they start the day, they can be dropped off at 8:10. Their school day starts at 8:30. And then they can start, we begin dismissal around 2:50, and their school day technically ends at 3. At McIntyre and Ross, and help me out with this so I don't mess it up.
8:55 start, or entry, 9:15 start. We finish up the day technically at 3:45.
Yeah, and so that ends out. And those kind of specifics, you will get a ton. When we do try, like we've learned, and we've like each year that we do this, we try to get a survey back so parents can tell us, hey, change it. And one of the biggest things is always, it was all great, too much though. So we do try to give like a little bit here, and then a little bit more at registration, and then a little bit more when we do our parent orientation in August, and then a little bit more whenever you're there with your children at the student orientation. Any other questions good for the group, district-wide questions? Yes?
Sorry, one more thing. You guys mentioned the YMCA software. Do you guys do buses there, or?
Oh, great question. So at each of our buildings, right, all 4 have YMCA programs located in their buildings. So that one doesn't require busing. There are other after-school programs. That's not the only show in town. But that's the one that's located in our buildings. There are 2 from Westview that provide busing, and there might be a few from others that have busing as well. You're welcome.
Thank you so much, Mr. Sutton.
Yeah.
So at this time, you can see that the contact information is on the screen. If you're viewing remotely or even here, feel free to take a quick snapshot of that so you can contact with specific questions. We're going to end the stream now for those watching remotely, so thank you for joining us.